You are an entrepreneur, a professional, a speaker, or a coach. And although you've come a long way, it's time for you to take it to the next level. We've got you. This is the Author to Authority podcast. We'll help you use authority and influencer marketing to build your business stronger and faster by publishing a book. You'll hear from guests that are thought leaders in sales, marketing, networking, communication, social media, promotion, and business leadership. Let's do it. This is the Author to Authority podcast. And now your host, the extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder.
Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. I'm your host, Kim Thompson-Pinder. A couple weeks ago, I made a boo-boo and had not recorded an episode for the Author to Authority podcast, which I thought I had. In reality, I had misnumbered an episode, which caused a gap. During that process, I decided to pull a From the Vault episode with myself and my previous co-host and best friend of more than 30 years, Juanita Witten-Radko. And as I was going through some of our episodes, I realized there was such rich information in there. Information that, even though it was recorded a few years ago, is still good for you now and is going to help you to move your business forward. So I decided for the rest of June, I'm going to feature some of the best of Kim and Juanita's episodes talking about all things authority, marketing, and book publishing. Come July, we will be back to our normal guest episodes 3 times a week. So I hope you sit back and enjoy these Kim and Juanita From the Vault episodes. Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. And I love doing episodes with my wonderful co-host, Juanita Witten-Radko. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Kim. Great to be here.
And today we're talking about a subject that's both near and dear to both of our hearts, and that is book publishing basics. And of course, we are publishers. I'm the owner, and Juanita is the content facilitator for RTI Publishing. We work with entrepreneurs, professionals, and coaches to help them produce their nonfiction signature books. So I've been looking forward to today's topic because I think it's one that we can speak to quite well. What do you think, my friend?
Absolutely. This is juicy stuff, a rich vein to mine.
And so we're going to be sharing some really good hints, tips, and secret little things that people don't realize about when you're getting ready to publish your book on Amazon. And these hints and tips are going to save you a lot of time and effort. You know, back when I started publishing books, back around, I think, 2012, 2013, I didn't have money to pay people to do things. I had to learn how to do everything myself. And I also did not have the money for courses. So my publishing journey was a very frustrating one. Computer almost went out the window more times than you can count. And the only reason it didn't is because I knew my husband, Ross, the computer expert, would probably kill me if I did it.
Or he'd bring it back and fix it anyway. So you'd be right back where you started.
So, you know, I went through all the frustrations of trying to publish a book. And now as a publisher, you know, we've done at least 150 books, maybe even starting to inch closer to 200. We're going to have to do a count one of these days. I mean, I've lost track of all the books that we have done for people. So we know how to publish books. So just before I get started today, Juanita, any thoughts that you wanted to share?
I think that one of the great things to think about, my first tip for people is stop fixing to get ready. I can speak on this as an expert, as someone who's like, oh, I just need to get the right color for the right color pen. And this paper doesn't feel right to me. I need to be working on a piece of 8.5 by 11, but can't grid paper. It has to be. I'm always looking for this fine-tuning my experience, and sometimes I just get hung up on the details when you should just jump in the pool instead of keep dipping your toes.
See, Juanita dips her toes. I jump into the pool, and then we both look at each other and go, okay, maybe I need to dip my toes more, and Juanita, maybe you need to jump in a little bit more. So that's why our friendship works, because we actually balance each other out. But Juanita has a saying that I particularly like that she's been adopting in her life is done is better than perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth. You will never get any results from your book if you don't publish it. So here's secret number one that we can share with you today. If you have formatted your book properly, you can change it. And it's not hard. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on, how to do that. So, once you get it up there, it's not set in stone on Amazon. You can make some minor tweaks and changes, upload the thing again. And as long as you haven't done major changes and, you haven't changed things so it doesn't pass review. But, if you're just doing minor tweaks and haven't done major changes, it'll pass review and it'll be live within 24 to 48 hours. So your book does not have to be perfect. In fact, your book will never be perfect. Mm-hmm. Has to be good, has to be great, but perfect, that's unattainable. Okay, so we want to share some basics with you. Book publishing checklist, let's call it, of things that you should have in place before you upload your book. And like I said, if you do these things first, it's going to save you a lot of time and energy. So first of all, you need to have your KDP account properly set up. Because KDP. Kindle Direct Publishing. Yeah. Your Kindle Direct Publishing account. So this is basically your back office, your Amazon back office for your book publishing. Okay, so this is where you go to upload your books, set all the descriptions and the parameters and all of those kinds of things. It's where you can order author copies. You can see reports on how your book is selling. So, that's your place for everything to do with Amazon book publishing, both Kindle and print. So you want to have that account set up. And I will tell you this, you want to do it ahead of time because you have to set your tax information. And depending on what country you're in, it's not always fun. The form can be a bit complicated. Actually, not complicated, confusing. I've done the form a few times. I'm a Canadian, so I do a different form than people in the United States do. And it's confusing. Sometimes I don't know how to answer some of the questions. So you got to kind of take your best guess at it. Or you have to Google it to try and figure out what does this question really mean. So sometimes that can take a fair amount of time to get that set up. So if you're coming towards your book launch and you're in a rush, you don't want to have to be trying to set up your KDP account on the day you're trying to upload your book. Do it ahead of time. So here's something else. Now, if you're American, you will be paying 30% withholding taxes. You have no choice in the matter. So Amazon takes those taxes off of your sales automatically, submits to the government. You receive whatever the proper government form is at the end of the year saying you earned so much, you paid so much. But if you're Canadian, and some other countries, not all countries, but some other countries have treaties with the United States. And so me as a Canadian, if I fill out my form properly, I do not have to pay the 30%. Na, 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 na. Sorry, I don't taxes to my American brothers and sisters. Canada. Just a perk of being Canadian. So, also that's the thing. Make sure you're filling out the right forms. Right? So it's depending upon where you live. Secondly, make sure your book is properly formatted before you upload that to Amazon. Because, there's basics that they look for to get it to review. And if you don't have the basics covered, you're toast. Now, the nice thing about it is they do show you where a lot of the formatting stuff is. And so, you want to have that properly formatted. And if you're formatting it yourself, I'm going to share with you the absolute best piece of software to format your book in. It's the easiest, and you can do everything in this one piece of software, including writing your book, editing your book, and formatting your book. And that is Microsoft Word. So if someone tells you that you need this fancy $1,000 piece of software to format your book, you do not. I can tell you that all of RTA Publishing's print books are done in Word. And the reason for it is very simple. First of all, it's easy to use. It's easy to create the PDF that you need to upload to Amazon for your print book. And secondly, it's easy to make changes later on. Some of those expensive software, you start making small changes and you got to format that whole book. Now, that being said, if depending on the changes that you make afterwards, you may have to reformat parts of your book in Word. If you end up adding in one extra page, could throw the rest of the formatting off, right? So again, you could end up reformatting. But if you're just changing a word here or there, you can do that in Word, resave it off as a PDF, and upload it to Amazon, and you're done very quickly. Any thoughts that you have there, my friend?
I was just thinking that it's true. Microsoft Word is industry standard, and the compatibility of using Microsoft Word saves a lot of headaches when it comes to sharing your work with an editor or a proofreader. That's
a formatter. Yeah, any of them. Yeah. We do not recommend Google Documents. Mm-hmm. Google Documents has its place. Don't get me wrong. Google Documents is a great thing. We have just not found it useful in terms of, book publishing, especially with our editing, our proofreading, and our formatting.
There are some missing features that are really useful to us. So
yeah. Secondly, make sure your covers are sized right. You'd be amazed at how tiny, especially on your print book, Amazon gets. We've had to change a book cover for 1.6 millimeters off.
We're talking that's like a skinny hair. That is so.
Yeah.
But if we hadn't, then the lettering would wrap around the spine and it would look weird.
Yeah. So, make sure that when you get your covers done, that you size. And here's the thing. Amazon KDP, the KDP website has a wealth of knowledge on there. They have spine calculators. You can do up a template. They'll send you out a template for your book size. So, there's lots of tools on the KDP website to help you create your covers and size them properly. And just accept the fact that some days Amazon's not in a good mood. And you could do everything right according to what they say, and they still come back to you and they want you to change it by 1 millimeter. So you know what? You change it by 1 millimeter. Don't get yourself upset. Upload it and get that thing approved, right? Some days Amazon's happy and some days it's not. So, and you just never know which Amazon you're going to get. But, here's the thing. Here's probably one of the biggest things Juanita and I have figured out in book publishing is the fact that allow yourself enough time. Yes. Don't try to rush this at the last minute, because that's when, mistakes will come up and things have to be fixed. And they seem to be back on track again, but in December, just before Christmas, and then with COVID restrictions, they were so overloaded that what would normally take 1 to 2 days to approve, one of our books took almost 10 days to approve.
Yeah.
In fact, they had to the client had to keep contacting Amazon and beg them to publish the book because their book launch was the next day, and Amazon got it published for the morning of their book launch. So realistically, you want your book uploaded about 2 weeks before your book launch at a minimum to ensure that everything's there. If there's any changes that need to be made, they can be made. The review process can be done. You can change any pricing, get reviews up. So, that's one of the biggest things is allow yourself enough time. Your ISBN. This is a whole big field.
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
Your international serialized book number.
Woo!
I'm a book nerd.
Basically, basically, this is the legal identification number for your book. And so this is important. Now, Amazon will issue you a free one. Here's the thing. And I have some of my books, I have done the Amazon free one. I just didn't have the money for anything else. You can only use that ISBN on, and this is predominantly your print book. You can get one for your Kindle book, but this is predominantly your print book one. You can only use that on Amazon. So, if you get Amazon to print your books, fine. If you're getting other people to print your books, you have to have a different ISBN number for it. If you're trying to post it on other sites, it needs to have a different ISBN. So what I recommend is if you're using your book to promote your business, and you're going to be using it in several different ways, is if you are in the United States, you need to purchase your ISBN. And one ISBN is about $125. If you're planning on publishing more books, you can buy a package of them. I think 10's like $295, something like that. Now, if you are in Canada and some other countries, so you need to check. But in Canada, the National Archives of Canada, if you are a Canadian citizen, you can receive an ISBN for your book for free, and it is internationally recognized.
So that's 2. Yay, Canada. do, 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 do.
Yes, we love being Canadian. So that's just something to consider and to decide ahead of time. And especially if you're Canadian listening to this, you're going to want to start your process for your ISBN probably a month or so ahead of time, because you have to get the account created, which has to be approved, and then, get the ISBN issued. Now, with the Canadian government website, they will require you to ship within a certain period of time, and they give you a bit of time, so it's not like rush, but you do have to mail them. It's either 1 or 2 print copies of your book, because they actually record that book and they store that book on record in the National Canadian Archives.
That's a big brag, really. It's like, well, I'm a published author and my book has been requested in the National Archives. Really? Wow. The fact that you have to do it is not necessarily information that needs to be leading.
So that's something else to think about. Next, the price of your book, because you have to have the price. Yes. Now, if you are a new author, what I recommend is if you're really, really new, okay, and you're not really, you may be an expert, but not really an authority yet, I would look at other books similar to yours and price it low average. So let's say, the bottom price is 99 cents and the top price is, $9.99 for your Kindle book. You're probably going to price it in around, actually, the average would probably be around $2.99, $3.99. Just because $2.99 and $3.99 are popular prices on Amazon. $2.99 being one of the most popular prices. If you're well-known, well-established, you're getting your name out there, you might want to consider $4.95, $5.95, somewhere in around there. If you're really already established and you're publishing your first book, you can even do the $9.99 for your Kindle book, because you have the audience to sell it to. You have the audience already that's going to pay $9.99. So these are all things to think about before you upload your book. Your book description. That needs to be written, edited. And if you want to make it fancy, you have to add HTML to it. Because there are no features to bold, italicize, and different things like that, like you would in Microsoft Word. So you actually have to use HTML code. Now, it's not hard to do. And if you Google it, you'll see that it's not hard. It's just a matter of putting a bracket with a specific code on one side of let's say you wanted the word authority bolded. So there's a bracket and a code. So you have to look that up and you put that in there, and then you put your word, so authority, and then you have to close that bracket with another symbols on the other end. So it's not incredibly difficult. but you have to do it. You have to know how to do it. Because if you don't do it correctly, what you've written there on either end shows up. If you've done it correctly, it does not show up in the words bolded. So if you want to add some visual effects to your description, you have to learn a little bit about HTML. But like I said, it's not hard and it's easy to Google. So you want to have your book description ready. Next, KDP Select program. Are you going to enroll in that? So this is a program where you tie yourself into Amazon for your Kindle book for 90 days. So you cannot sell your ebook copy of your book anywhere else, including your own website, for 90 days. And there's a whole bunch of benefits that you get for doing it, including be able to give your book away free for 5 days and some other benefits. You get enrolled in the Kindle Unlimited program. So there are benefits to it. But if you plan on selling your book in more than just Amazon, then you cannot enroll in that program. Because by enrolling, you are saying that I will not publish this ebook anywhere else. So again, you have to look at your goals and what it is that you want to do with your book and decide if this program is correct for you. And before we get to the last one, my friend, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to encourage people back in the olden days, pre-internet days, old school self-publishers had to pay for thousands of copies of their books for their print copies. And now we have the option of ebooks and POD, print-on-demand books. And print-on-demand is a reduced financial risk. It's flexible. You can choose how many books. And it also lets you experiment and update if you need to. Like Kim said, you might find a mistake and, 2 weeks afterwards, an eagle-eyed reader has gone, did you actually mean for it to say this? And you're going, oh my goodness, no. You can fix that. Or let's think positively, maybe someone sent your book to the mayor of, or the prime minister of Canada, or whoever, your governor, and they thought, wow, I am so impressed, I'm going to write them a letter. And if Justin Trudeau said, gee, Juanita, this sewing book is super keen, I would slap that on my sewing book 100 times. I would be very happy to have a positive review added to my book. I'm being a little bit silly there. So I think that it's really a good choice for you as your options. Like, just to consider, if you're going, oh, this is still quite an outlay of money all the same. No, you don't have a garage full of books. The story of the time I ate beans,
Exactly.
Sitting and gathering dust.
Yeah, because that's the thing with your print book. When somebody orders your print book, Amazon prints it and ships it out to them. So again, you don't have to carry any inventory whatsoever. Finally, set aside a whole day to publish a book, or at least half a day, because you are going to run into things. The cover might not be right. The formatting not be right. You have to put all these settings in, and then you might have to think about things, and you might have to go back and revise. And I can tell you, when you upload your book and your cover, there's a previewer that you have to go through. Well, it takes 5 to 10 minutes from the time you upload your book and your cover for it to process everything and for the previewer to be ready. So if you think you're going to make a quick change, upload it and double check it all in like less than 2 minutes, no, that's not going to happen. You're looking at about 20 minutes. You're going to want to go through the previewer and check everything before you approve it. And that's for your print book and your Kindle book. So, like if you're doing both of them the same day, just block out that time, get a babysitter for the kids, lock the dog outside, kiss your husband and tell him to leave you alone. Like,
does this sound like experience talking or what? Leave your husband outside, whatever it takes.
You can show the doghouse, but in all seriousness, this is something that can fly easily and take you less than an hour to do, or you can be spending an entire day doing this. So, and there's, until you do it, you're not going to know how long. So, when I'm uploading books for our clients, I allow 4 to 6 hours, and I go and do stuff. And then if I've got to do more work on it, I come back and do more work on it again. Right. So, even as a publisher, sometimes it's just small the nitpickiest things. So, and you won't know until you do it. So that's my advice on book publishing. So we've got to get going. Time is up. Any one last thought there, my friend?
I think that we gave a great show today. I'm going to say goodbye right now.
So this has been Juanita Wooten-Radko and Kim Thompson-Pinder on the Author to Authority podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the very next episode. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Author to Authority podcast. The extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder, has helped over 200 entrepreneurs, professionals, speakers, and coaches write and publish their books that have become incredible marketing tools for their business. And many of those have gone on to become Amazon best-selling authors and have used their books to land high-level clients and get on big stages. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at www.authortoauthoritypodcast.com. See you next time.